You will learn the wisdom in avoiding battles wherever possible. Frustrated, Matthias could only watch as the Emperor's men continued to die under the sharp-tipped rain. Screams filled the air. As the sun climbed in the sky, something glinted on the ridge to the east. Matthias frowned. 5 knights, arranged in the shape of a letter V, were running on foot towards the castle. Their armor was tarnished with rust, and they carried neither flags nor pennants to identify themselves. As Matthias looked on in amazement, the knights drew their swords and charged into the flank of the Emperor's army. Cries of alarm went up from the horrified soldiers as they were cut down where they stood. "Look, master!" Matthias cried, grabbing Gower's sleeve. "Knights have come to lift the siege. They must be allies of Lord Arazem." The scribe said nothing, his face grim. Matthias felt unease slosh around inside his belly as the knights drew closer. They were a head taller than any man he had ever seen, their faces hidden behind their visors. Killing with terrifying ease, they carved a bloody path through the Emperor's men, trampling over the dead and wounded. "Who are these knights?" Matthias asked Gower. "I do not know," the scribe said quietly. "But I've never seen men kill like this before." The Emperor's army was scattering in terror, but there were no cheers from the defenders on the battlements. Lord Arazem appeared to be arguing with Cavalos. Pushing his advisor to one side, the gruff warrior drew his broadsword and stormed back inside the tower. For the second time that morning, Matthias's and Cavalos's eyes met. Gathering his robes about him, Cavalos followed his lord off the parapet. Below them, the knights had butchered their way to the gates of Prajama. At an unspoken signal, they stopped and sheathed their swords, craning their necks up towards the battlements. As their gaze passed over him, Matthias shivered. Suddenly, the knights ran forward and began to scale the castle walls, climbing with astonishing agility, like huge metal spiders. "Impossible," Gower gasped. "What sorcery is this?" Warning shouts went up around the towers. Archers turned their bows upon the clambering knights, only to see their arrows bounce harmlessly off rusty armor. Further along the battlements, Matthias caught sight of a mailed fist gripping the top of the wall. A knight hauled himself up onto the parapet, his shadow blotting out the sun. Drawing his sword with an icy scrape of steel, he jumped down into the terrified bowman. Gower's bony hand fastened round Matthias's wrist, drawing him back from the walls. "The castle is in danger," Matthias protested. "We must stand and fight." "With what?" Gower said pointedly. 5 knights have defeated an entire army. Do you think they will cower at the sight of my staff and your dagger? Come, my apprentice. We have work to do." The scribe marched Matthias through the doorway into the tower, where they descended a set of steps into the innards of the castle. Wide-eyed servants ran by, wailing about devils in armor. Matthias could smell burning. Looking out through the window, he saw smoke rising up from the keep. A fire had started somewhere within the fortress. But Gower didn't break stride. "Where are we going?" Matthias panted. Gower ducked through an archway and climbed the steps into the east tower, stopping outside an oak door with a pair of stag's antlers carved into the wood. It was Lord Arazem's private library, the most jealously guarded room in the entire castle. Gower drew a key from within his robes and unlocked the door, gesturing at Matthias to enter. With a gulp, Matthias crept inside. He found himself in a vast chamber, thick stone columns supporting a roof that disappeared up into shadow. Frowning portraits hung from the walls, beside tapestries telling tales of battles fought and crowns won. Bookcases crammed with volumes stretched in all directions. The air was thick with the smell of musty parchment. After the din of battle outside, the silence inside the library throbbed in Matthias's ears. Gower was already hurrying away down an aisle, the base of his staff rapping against the flagstones. Matthias hastened after.